I think that she made a really interesting point about you inheriting that kind of habits from your mother. Or,
Yeah.
my mother's really petite and tiny,
Yeah.
so I've spent like a lifetime of feeling of too big,
Yeah.
you know?
I feel like that with my stepmom, and that like she always eats like healthy. Like she's always like, "Oh, why don't you eat more vegetables?" You know? And I'm like, I want to eat this piece of meat, okay? But yeah, and I feel like I probably do have like a lot more pressures from my stepmom out of my family because she's like the she's petite and also like she works out a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like a great thing for her, you know? But I think I have a different body type, so it's harder and like but she does like pressure me into like being more thin.
Yeah.
I think she's like probably the first one to always be like, "Did you gain weight?" You know, and I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think so. I weighed myself this morning apparently." But yeah, it's like interesting that like the poet was saying like women are taught to grow in,
Yeah.
you know, and then men are taught to grow out.
Yeah.
And I do see that dynamic a lot. Like my stepdad, he has like a very round like belly, you know, almost kind of like a beer belly, and like my mom is definitely very like thin, you know. So I mean, seeing that dynamic is like weird. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I think it's almost kind of like it goes back to that idea that your physical attributes for a woman hold so much value that it almost like validates you as a woman. Like you
Right.
have to have a certain body type, a certain look. Like, if you're not fit and eating healthy and exercise, I mean, you should be doing those things if you makes you happy and like,
Yeah.
being healthy helps you be happy. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's this obsession with being super thin.
Yeah.
And,
Well, like I think with media or like society, I think we equate being thin with being healthy
yeah,
when that's not the case.
exactly.
You know, and I think you could be healthy being like a little chunky, you know, and you can be really unhealthy being super super thin, you know? And like I think a good really story of that is like my friend's sister. She was 19 at the time, super thin. Like like not like unhealthy thin, you know, but like thin.
Yeah.
And you would assume that she works out, but she doesn't. She's like one of those naturally skinny people, you know.
Yeah.
But she ate shit all the time, and she was, she would eat like fast food, like burgers, and like drink soda every day.
Wow.
And she got kidney stones.
Oh.
When she was 19. Like that's young to get kidney stones. And so that was like definitely the thing where I was like, wow, like that was like I was pretty young at the time too, so I was like that was the first thing I've ever like I was like, oh wow, like so you can be like incredibly unhealthy and thin at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like a big like that, at least brought my eyes open to that, and I feel like people don't hear those stories enough.
Yeah.
Where like the skinny person, has like health issues because they're not healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I do think that it's kind of like when you see someone that is a little bit more heavier set, there's an assumption of certain things about them, their eating habits, their exercise habits, their lifestyle in general, and qualities that they exude. But it's kind of like everyone's unique,
Yeah.
And it's like just because someone isn't stick thin, it doesn't mean that they're not eating healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're not, they're not lazy or all these other qualities. And, like I think that, because I remember my aunts would kind of like always kind of tell my mom, like, like, oh, she's so big. Like, what are you doing? You must be like doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think it kind of, you know, when you overhear that, you're kind of like,
You feel
well, I don't
really
think-
terrible about
yeah, like-
yourself. Yeah.
like I admit, like, you know, like you definitely eating healthy wasn't something that was as prominent.
Yeah.
in my
I feel like that's the
family.
case with like, I mean, like as much as like Asian culture is obsessed with like being thin, I feel like Asian food is not like like that. Those two things don't like coincide for some reason, you know. Like whereas like, I mean, I guess I can't speak for all of Asian culture, but like with Taiwanese food, like Taiwanese food is like not like super healthy.
Yeah, same
You know,
with
it's very
Filipino food.
like meat heavy, you know.
Yeah.
And like everything just now they're starting to get healthier, like Taiwanese like culture, and like they're starting to get into the whole like organic fad, which is great. And like, I mean, aside that, it's like kind of, I feel like it's kind of a fad, but at least it's people are more aware of like the environment and like eating healthy. But that's like just a new thing that's starting, but like you still see like really, really skinny people in Taiwan. And I'm like, how? Like, how do you do that? It's weird. I don't know. But yeah, so like Filipino food, like I know you've said like a few times that you're like,
horrible.
oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
I mean, it tastes
But adobo
good,
was so good in the in the Philippines. It was really, really delicious.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was really good.